As it turns out, both challenger Mitt Romney and incumbent Barack Obama were invited to speak at the Al Smith Catholic dinner last week. My understanding is that, in loose terms now, the Republican National Committee has about $85 million left, while the DNC typically has had to go to the bank to borrow another $10 million or something. Now, if that's true, and I was running the Romney campaign, then I would spend every penny of that $85 million, and I'd borrow another $85 million more to simply run all 10 minutes of Mitt Romney's remarks unedited. The man would win this election by 60 points. Now, we can't play the entire speech for you, but we can play some highlights. So let's bring in Steve Green and Scott Ott right quick so we don't have to waste a precious second. Guys, you both make a living by being funny. I do as well, but not intentionally. Romney is magnificently funny in these clips, as we're about to see, but the essence of humor is that it reveals the truth in an unexpected way, and that's the real mojo that's happening here. So Steve, we'll start with you. Take a look at this first clip, and then tell me if you think this helps disarm the Romney is a rich, nasty guy venality.
Now, Al, you are right. A campaign can require a lot of wardrobe changes. Blue jeans in the morning, perhaps, suit for a lunch fundraiser, sport coat for dinner, but it's nice to finally relax and to wear what Ann and I wear around the house.
Okay. You know what? That was actually part two in diffusing the whole Mitt Romney is a rich guy thing. And the second part was just, that was hysterical. He's just, and I love to see a politician, a man who wants to hold the most powerful office in the world, who is able to laugh at himself in a self-deprecating way. You don't see that out of President Obama. The first part, though, to diffusing the whole rich thing, though, actually came from President Obama in the second debate. I don't know if you remember this, but a couple of times during the debate, he just got nasty and mean and needled Romney for being rich. Somebody goes, well, you know, your pension's a lot bigger than mine. Just mean, petty stuff. That's not the way Americans treat our most successful people, because our most successful people tend to be a lot more likable, like Mitt Romney, than they are like Barack Obama, who is not so nice.
Yeah, and it turns out that factually, I think Obama actually does have a bigger pension than Romney. And that was a perfectly delivered line, by the way. Scotty, similar type of thing here on what we're going to see next. Now, you, like Mitt Romney, are a deeply religious man who doesn't indulge in alcohol, although just for the coolness record, I hasten to add that unlike Mitt Romney, you had a wild rock and roll youth before your road to Damascus moment. So take a look at this next clip and tell me what you think this says about the man.
People seem to be very curious as to how we prepare for the debates. Let me tell you what I do. First, refrain from alcohol for 65 years before the debate.
Well, you know,
just like me.
People don't realize how difficult this is to do. It's not just the writing, because, you know, immediately people say, well, he must have had a great joke writer, and speech writers did a great job on that. You have no idea how difficult it is to deliver those lines with the aplomb and the deftness that he did. Deft, not deaf. And he has just perfect delivery. There's only one joke in that whole routine that he messed up because he accidentally mispronounced a word. Not only does Romney demonstrate that he's funny, that he's self-deprecating, that he knows how to gently jab somebody else while maintaining the other person's dignity, but he also demonstrates that he put in the work to make that excellent. 3 times a week, I do a satirical newscast here on PJTV. It is not easy to do that kind of delivery thing. He busted his tail. He worked hard, and he'll do that with every other aspect of the job once he gets elected.
I'd never really thought of it that way, but I think that's exactly right. He didn't see it as a drag to prepare for this thing. I bet he rehearsed that speech 100 times. Now, folks, it's not just self-deprecation, although self-deprecation is, in my mind, a sign of confidence and character. Romney landed some real zingers on the president. After the first debate, President Obama tried to save his disastrous performance by saying Mitt wanted to kill Big Bird. Watch this reaction, and especially that of Katie Couric to the president's, to Mitt Romney's particular joke right here.
In the spirit of Sesame Street, the president's remarks tonight are brought to you by the letter O and the number 16 trillion.
Now, Steve, that was the thing that second most impressed me about anti-Republican hacks like Katie Couric and Chris Matthews, who's off camera, laugh not at Romney, but with Romney at Obama. And this one may be my favorite.
Of course, the president has put his own stamp on relations with the church. There have been some awkward moments, like when the president pulled Pope Benedict aside to share some advice on how to deal with his critics. He said, "Look, Holy Father, whatever the problem is, just blame it on Pope John Paul II."
Now, Steve, you couldn't see it there on ABC's coverage, but on C-SPAN, they open up and Chris Matthews is off to the side, and Chris Matthews is doubled over with laughter. Katie Couric is nearly crying. Do you think Mitt Romney impressed these mainstream media scoundrels that night, and do you think it's going to change how they cover him in the 2 weeks left?
No, it's not going to change how they cover him. Look, George W. Bush was loved by the press on a one-on-one basis when he was campaigning during the primaries and during the general election in 2000. He was always in the back of the bus with them. He was in the back of the plane. He gave them all nicknames and all that stuff. Same thing in 2004. In fact, Nancy Pelosi's daughter became his friend, filming a documentary of his campaign. And that reservoir of goodwill that Bush built up with the media on a very one-on-one basis evaporated because as soon as they saw they could lie their bottoms off about Katrina and ruin his entire second term, they went for it. Now, Obama, he ignores the press when he's not hectoring them on how to do his job, and when he's not doing those two things, he's sending Jay Carney out to lie to him. They love him. They will carry water for him. These are progressives. This is what they do. You whip them and beat them, and they will love you back.
Folks, if you needed a reason to vote for Mitt Romney, do it just to spite Katie Couric and Chris Matthews. If there's no better reason to go out and vote, I'll tell you what, that's good enough for me. Now, Scotty, this next bite may not have been his funniest line, but I actually think it was his most effective one. Again, for you at home, and you too, Scotty, watch Katie Couric's face as she and the rest of the mainstream media are called out by Romney to their faces.
Of course, rules of fairness have to be enforced because what other safeguard do we have besides the press? And now, I never suggest that the press is biased. I recognize they have their job to do, and I have my job to do. My job is to lay out a positive vision for the future of the country, and their job is to make sure no one else finds out about it.
What do you think, Scott?
Well, you know, it's funny because the first time I heard that, I actually heard it on radio. I didn't see it, and I didn't think that first laugh that he got was supposed to be a laugh line. And I'll tell you what, this is probably because I went to school for journalism, and I really thought that there was some dignity in the profession. And so when you say that you have no other safeguard but the press, I'm thinking, that's right. The press should be a safeguard for our republic. And so that wasn't funny to me, but it was funny to the media, which says something right there. And then to follow it up the way he did with it, just really twisting the knife and bringing it home. People know that this guy speaks the truth. Like you said, it's not just a laugh line. It's truth. They're tired of that kind of treatment in the media. They're tired of the media talking down to them. They look forward to having a genial guy who can laugh at himself and also who sees things as they are in the White House.
Yeah, you bet, Scott. It's a masterful performance, really. You know, I've been hard on Mitt Romney prior to his nomination, but his selection of Paul Ryan cheered me enormously, as did his performance at the RNC and subsequently. Then, his first debate performance impressed me even more. But I'll tell you something, it wasn't until I saw this Al Smith dinner that I really began to feel like this is my guy. I'm just damn proud he's ours. Not because he's bright and funny. We're going to leave you with a glimmer of what this man might become as president. It's a soft, sweet note of grace that might, once the shouting is over, genuinely do what Barack Obama promised to do but actually was his biggest failure: heal some of the partisan divide in this country.
It'd be easy to let a healthy competition give way to the personal and the petty, but fortunately, we don't carry the burden of disliking one another. Our president has had some very fine and gracious moments. Don't tell anyone I said so, but our 44th president has many gifts and a beautiful family that would make any man proud. You can oppose...
And it gets even better after that. Go President Romney! For PJTV, I'm Bill Whittle.